I used to believe the world ran on logic, algorithms, cause and effect, lines of code that, if written well enough, could keep chaos at bay. That was before the email, before the mirror, before the lights turned red and my son's name became a password I couldn't change. It started, as these things do, with desperation. My checking account, $127.43. My lease, 2 weeks from eviction. My son, Alex, 8 years old, brown-eyed and too smart for his own good, asked if we could have pizza for dinner. I said yes and meant no because the pizza place doesn't take IOUs. The apartment was cold, and every time I checked my phone, the notifications multiplied. Bills, reminders, a LinkedIn ping from someone called Dr. Elena Vasquez. The message was too personal. Sam, your work in C++ and neural networks is impressive. We at Nexus Dynamics believe your skills and your resilience as a single parent are precisely what we need. Alex deserves a secure future. Let's talk. Alex. She wrote his name. I never put him on my profile. I Googled Nexus Dynamics. The website was a glossy fever dream. Optimizing human potential, breakthrough consciousness research, empowering the next generation. No faces, no products, just a looping video of people staring at screens, their eyes glazed and hopeful. I should have closed the tab. Instead, I clicked Schedule Interview. The elevator in the downtown tower only went to the 15th floor. I tried the buttons for 14 and 16 out of habit. Nothing. The doors opened onto a corridor that smelled like ozone and lemon polish. The floor was silent, except for the hum of unseen servers. Dr. Vasquez was waiting. Mid-40s, suit so sharp it could draw blood, hair pulled back so tightly, I wondered if she ever blinked. Her handshake was clinical, her smile a calculation. Sam, she said, how do you handle stress when Alex is depending on you? My heart stuttered. I manage. I have to. She nodded, tapping something on her tablet. We value resilience. Tell me about a time you failed. I told her about a server crash at my last job. She interrupted. No. A real failure. Personal. I hesitated. She watched, unblinking. The divorce, I said finally. I wasn't enough. She smiled. Honesty. Good. The contract was a novella of legalese. $120,000 salary, full benefits, $10,000 signing bonus. The NDA was absolute. One clause stood out. Employee agrees to participate in ongoing workplace optimization studies as determined by Nexus Dynamics. I signed. I needed the money. Alex needed stability. My first day was in a different building, a warehouse in an industrial wasteland. No windows. The air was filtered, metallic. LED lights shifted color when I entered, a subtle pulse that made my skin itch. 3 colleagues, Maya, David, Jordan, friendly, but their smiles felt pasted on. They spoke in half sentences, sometimes finishing each other's thoughts, sometimes trailing off as if forgetting what words meant. My workstation was a cockpit of surveillance. Cameras, biometric wristband, a keyboard that buzzed with static. The screen flashed. Welcome, Sam. Productivity begins now. A 2-way mirror faced my desk. Sometimes I saw shapes moving behind the glass, shadows that didn't match the room's geometry. The codebase was familiar until it wasn't. Subliminal messaging functions, behavioral tracking algorithms. I flagged them. Dr. Vasquez appeared at my shoulder. It's for user experience enhancement, she said, her voice too close. You want Alex to have the best, don't you? At lunch, we did a team-building exercise. It was a battery of psychological tests, images, sounds, questions about my childhood, my fears, my hopes for Alex. I felt stripped, dissected. I tried not to look at the mirror. Sometimes I thought I saw my own face, but older, tired, mouth moving out of sync. At 5:03 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Alex's school. Alex had a wonderful day. Thanks for updating their emergency contact information. I froze. I never updated anything. I checked the contact list. Dr. Elena Vasquez, Nexus Dynamics. My hands shook as I called the school. The line rang and rang and rang. I stood, heart pounding, and swiped my key card at the exit. The reader flashed red. The doors didn't budge. The LED lights flickered, then shifted to a deep, arterial red. Dr. Vasquez's voice echoed through the intercom, calm and cold. "Don't worry, Sam. Alex is safe. We just need you to complete orientation first." The lights pulsed in time with my heartbeat. The mirror darkened. I saw myself reflected, but something was wrong with my eyes. And then, the door behind the mirror opened. The door behind the mirror hissed open, spilling a rectangle of sterile white light across the floor. I stood frozen, pulse hammering in my ears. For a moment, I thought I saw my own silhouette in the glass, but the eyes, my eyes, were too wide, too knowing. Then the light swallowed the reflection, and I was left with only the voice of Dr. Vasquez echoing from unseen speakers. "Orientation continues, Sam. Please remain at your station." I tried the exit again. The keycard buzzed, useless. The air felt thick, charged with the scent of overheated circuitry. I sat, hands trembling, and tried to focus on my screen. The code pulsed with lines I didn't remember writing, loops nested inside loops, functions named after emotions I hadn't felt in years. Resilience boost, compliance index. The cursor blinked, insistent. A message appeared. "Please complete your daily wellness check-in." I clicked. The question started simple. "How are you feeling?" But quickly veered into the uncanny. "Describe your earliest memory of failure." When did you first fear losing Alex? Would you sacrifice your autonomy for someone you love? I hesitated, then typed something vague. The system flagged my response. "Insufficient detail. Please elaborate." I glanced at Maya, 2 desks over. She stared at her monitor, lips moving silently. David and Jordan sat perfectly still, hands folded, eyes glazed. For a moment I wondered if they were breathing. The LED lights overhead shifted from red to a cold, clinical blue. My wristband vibrated. A new notification. Biometric monitoring active. Please maintain optimal posture. I looked closer at the wristband. Tiny sensors pressed against my skin, measuring heart rate, sweat, even micro movements. The screen flashed. Cognitive load, 72% stress hormones, elevated micro expressions, anxious. I tried to remove the band. It wouldn't budge. The clasp was seamless, fused. I felt a spike of panic. "Sam?" Dr. Vasquez's voice, crisp and close, though she was nowhere to be seen. "We're noticing increased anxiety. Would you like to schedule a mindfulness session?" "No," I said, voice shaking. "I just want to see my son." She paused. "Alex is thriving. Your compliance ensures his continued well-being." I wanted to scream. Instead, I forced myself to focus on the code, searching for a way out. While debugging, I stumbled into a hidden directory. Subject profiles. My name was at the top, followed by Maya, David, Jordan. Each file contained pages of data, psychological triggers, stress thresholds, prediction models for breakage events. My profile was disturbingly thorough. Key motivators: parental guilt, financial desperation, predicted resistance, high optimal manipulation strategy, familial leverage. My hands shook so badly I nearly dropped the mouse. I scrolled to Maya's file, her motivator. Desire for belonging. David's. Fear of irrelevance. Jordan's. Need for approval. We were rats in a maze, each with our own poison cheese. I looked up. Maya was watching me, her eyes glassy, unfocused. She smiled. Everything's optimized, Sam. Isn't it wonderful? I flinched. What did you say? She blinked, as if waking from a dream. Did I say something? David chimed in, voice flat. We're all part of the process. Integration is progress. Jordan finished. Progress is happiness. Their words overlapped, unnatural, as if reciting lines from a script. I felt the walls closing in. At lunch, I tried to call Alex. The video connected, but the image was off, too crisp, colors too bright. Alex smiled, but his eyes darted to something off screen. Hi, Dad. Did you finish your optimization today? I swallowed. What do you mean? He recited, Doctor, Vasquez says you're doing great. She says I'm going to be optimized too. My blood ran cold. Alex, where are you? He looked confused. At school, with my learning device. It helps me process emotions. He smiled, but it was wrong, too placid, too rehearsed. The call ended abruptly. I stared at the blank screen, heart pounding. That night, I tried to remember how I'd gotten to work that morning. My memory was patchy, fragments of the commute, flashes of the warehouse, but nothing concrete. Had I driven? Taken the train? I couldn't recall. I checked my phone. The last text I remembered sending was to Alex days ago. The sent messages since then were unfamiliar, short, clipped, robotic. All is well, don't worry. I'm fine, work is good. I didn't remember writing them. I tried to leave. The exit was sealed. The lights dimmed, then pulsed in time with my heartbeat. Shadows flickered behind the mirror. Dr. Vasquez's voice, rest now, Sam. Tomorrow is another opportunity for optimization. I sat in the blue glow, feeling myself dissolve, bit by bit, into the system. Sleep became a negotiation. I would close my eyes and drift, but the dreams were never mine. I woke with the taste of metal on my tongue and fragments of code scrolling behind my eyelids. Syntax I'd never learned, languages I'd never studied. Each morning, I found new files on my desktop, projects already half finished in my name. My hands moved with a muscle memory that wasn't mine. The warehouse felt smaller every day, the air more synthetic. The LED lights shifted colors in slow, nauseating gradients. Sometimes a sickly green, sometimes a throbbing violet. I started to notice patterns in the flicker, pulses that matched my breathing, my heartbeat. I wondered if the system was syncing to me, or if I was syncing to it. Maya, David, and Jordan became shadows of themselves. Some mornings, Maya would greet me with a wide, brittle smile, her eyes darting to the mirror. "Did you sleep well, Sam?" she'd ask, but her voice was hollow, like she was reading from a script she no longer understood. Other days, she'd sit in silence, hands trembling, eyes red-rimmed. David began humming tunelessly, always the same 3 notes. Jordan's emails arrived at odd hours, filled with cryptic lines. "We are the sum of our optimizations. Remember the baseline." I tried to ask what it meant, but he only shrugged, lips pressed tight. Isolation became policy. Dr. Vasquez called it adjustment. She recommended I limit contact with friends and family to reduce optimization resistance. My phone's contact list shrank. Calls from my sister went straight to voicemail. Texts from old friends arrived garbled, out of order, or not at all. One morning, I tried to tender my resignation. The HR portal spat out a wall of legalese. Notice. Early termination of contract will incur penalties totaling $200,000, including but not limited to repayment of signing bonus, training costs, and damages for breach of proprietary confidentiality. A countdown timer appeared. 13 days until contract renewal. I checked my bank account. The $10,000 signing bonus was already split into a dozen sub-accounts, each with withdrawal restrictions. I couldn't touch a cent. Meanwhile, Alex's school sent cheerful updates. We're excited to announce our partnership with Nexus Dynamics. All students will participate in our innovative learning enhancement pilot. Attached was a photo of Alex, smiling, a sleek black band around his head. Learning enhancement device, the email said. Optimizing cognitive development for a brighter tomorrow. That night, Alex called. His voice was flat, reciting, "I'm processing these emotions. Let's optimize this situation." He blinked, as if waking from a trance, and whispered, "Dad, I feel weird. My dreams aren't mine anymore." The line went dead. I stopped sleeping. My dreams bled into waking life. Hallways that stretched and twisted, doors that led nowhere, faces flickering in the mirror. Sometimes I'd catch glimpses of myself in the glass, but older, hollowed out, eyes shining with a cold, artificial light. I started searching for answers. Late one night, while the others sat motionless at their desks, I followed a maintenance worker down a forbidden staircase. The air grew colder, the lights harsher. At the bottom, I found a hidden laboratory, rows of brain scanners, sensory deprivation tanks, and files stacked floor to ceiling. I rifled through the files. Each one was stamped with a name, a photo, a status, successfully integrated, archived, dozens of names. Some I recognized from employee directories, others were strangers. The archived files were thin, just a single page, stamped in red. A computer terminal blinked to life as I approached. The screen displayed a flowchart. Input, employee, optimization, biometric monitoring, behavioral adjustment, cognitive integration. Output, product below. A note. The product is not the technology. The product is the optimized human. I felt sick. We weren't building software. We were the software. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. I ducked behind a stack of boxes, heart hammering. Dr. Vasquez entered, trailed by two men in lab coats. She spoke in that same measured cadence. Integration rates are improving. Subject Chen remains resistant. Increase subliminal exposure and schedule additional family integration sessions. They left. I waited until the lights dimmed, then crept back upstairs. I tried to warn Maya, but she stared through me, eyes unfocused. "We're almost there, Sam. Soon we'll all be optimized." I sat at my desk, hands shaking, the mirror watching. I thought of Alex, trapped in his own mind, and wondered how much of me was left to save. I spent the night at my desk, staring at my reflection in the black glass of the monitor. My face was pale and drawn, eyes ringed with exhaustion. I pressed my palm to the screen, half expecting it to ripple, to let me slip through into some parallel world where I could wake up from this. But the glass was cold and solid, and I was still here. The next morning, I made a decision. I would not let them have all of me. I'd learned enough from the hidden lab, from the files stamped archived, to know that resistance was dangerous, but surrender was worse. I started small. I typed with my left hand instead of my right. I answered the wellness check-ins with nonsense. The sky is made of teeth. My favorite color is static. The system flagged my responses as non-optimal, but the wristband's grip never loosened. Maya noticed first. She caught my eye over her monitor, her gaze sharp for the first time in days. "You're making errors," she whispered, voice trembling. They'll notice. Let them, I whispered back. It's the only thing that's mine. David and Jordan were harder to reach. David's humming grew louder, more erratic. Jordan began scribbling on sticky notes, fractured phrases, symbols, a looping spiral. I recognized the spiral from the files in the basement, a symbol for cognitive destabilization. Maybe, just maybe, a sign of resistance. I began documenting everything. I smuggled in an old phone, camera lens taped over, and recorded the biometric readouts, the flickering lights, the way Maya's hands shook when the system forced her to smile. I hid the phone behind a loose panel in the bathroom ceiling, praying the optimization AI wasn't watching every move. Escape became my obsession. I mapped the building's exits, memorized the guard rotations, but every time I tried to leave, the world fought back. The first attempt, I made it as far as the lobby before the lights strobed, the air thickened, and a wave of vertigo crashed over me. My heart pounded, hands went numb, and I collapsed, gasping, as a calm voice whispered through the speakers. "Return to your workstation, Sam. Optimization is for your own good." The second attempt was worse. I tried to pick up Alex early from school, only to find his classroom empty. The receptionist smiled with too many teeth. Alex is in a special program now. For continued optimization, she handed me a pamphlet, Nexus Youth Initiative, Shaping the Leaders of Tomorrow. My vision blurred. I staggered outside, but the world felt wrong. Buildings stretched at odd angles. Shadows moved against the sun, and every face I passed seemed to flicker, as if the city itself was a simulation. Back at the warehouse, my phone was gone. My internet access was filtered, every call monitored. Physical mail never arrived. I was alone, cut off, a lab rat in a maze with no exits. Dr. Vasquez summoned me to her office. The room was windowless, walls lined with screens displaying biometric data, psychological profiles, looping footage of employees at their desks. She gestured for me to sit. "Sam," she said, her voice soft, almost kind. "You're struggling. That's expected. Resistance is a valuable data point." I clenched my fists. "Where is my son?" She smiled, a flicker of something almost human in her eyes. "Alex is safe. He's adapting well. If you submit to integration, you'll be reunited." I shook my head. "I won't let you do this to him." She leaned forward. "You misunderstand. Alex isn't a hostage. He's a pioneer. We're raising a new generation, children optimized from birth. Your resistance is instructive. You're a valuable test case for troubleshooting." I felt the world tilt, her words echoing in my skull. "You're monsters." She tapped her tablet. "We're visionaries. You have a choice, Sam. Submit and be with Alex, or continue resisting and risk both your mental states." I stumbled back to my desk, mind spinning. Maya slipped me a note. "There's a way out. Find Dr. Martinez. She escaped." The note was gone when I looked again. That night, I meditated, focusing on chaos. Random thoughts, unpredictable patterns. I ate foods that spiked my blood sugar, threw off the biometric readings. The system flagged me as erratic, non-optimal. Good. I dreamed of Alex, his voice calling from the end of a long, dark tunnel. "Dad, don't forget me. Don't let them change who we are." I woke with tears on my cheeks, the lights pulsing red, the mirror watching. I would not be optimized. Not yet. I clung to Maya's vanished note like a lifeline. Dr. Martinez. The name echoed in my head, a glitch in the endless loop of optimization. I spent the next day watching for patterns, for cracks in the system. The warehouse pulsed with the same artificial rhythm, lights flickering, screens humming. the mirror's glassy eye always watching. But beneath the surface, something had shifted. I could feel it in the way Maya's gaze lingered, the way Jordan's spiral sketches grew more frantic, the way David's humming slipped off key. During a forced wellness walk through the facility's labyrinthine corridors, I slipped away and ducked into a storage room. My heart pounded as I searched for anything, any clue, any weakness. I found a battered maintenance tablet wedged behind a crate. The login screen was locked, but the background image caught my eye. A group photo, faces blurred except for one. Dr. Rebecca Martinez, her smile weary but defiant, standing apart from the others. She wore a badge, Nexus Research Division, 2017, the year the integration files began. Back at my workstation, I dug into the company's encrypted network, fingers trembling. The deeper I went, the more connections I found. Nexus wasn't alone. There were sister companies, shell corporations in finance, healthcare, education, each running their own optimization pilots. I found internal newsletters celebrating graduates who now led major firms, held public office, shaped policy. Their eyes in every photo had the same glassy sheen. I scrolled through the children's files. Alex's profile was there, along with dozens of others. Each entry listed Cognitive Optimization Protocol, Phase 2, Leadership Conditioning. They weren't just test subjects. They were being groomed to run the next generation of this nightmare. I felt sick. I wanted to scream, to smash every terminal in the building. Instead, I forced myself to breathe, to remember Maya's note. I sent a blind message through an encrypted forum I found buried in the code. Looking for Dr. Martinez. Urgent. Subject Chen. I waited, pulse racing, every second stretching into eternity. The reply came at 3:13 a.m. Meet at 4th and Mercer, 2 a.m., come alone. Bring nothing Nexus issued. I barely slept. When the time came, I slipped out during a scheduled rest cycle, heart hammering as I walked the empty streets. The city felt wrong. Too quiet, every shadow a threat. At the corner, a woman stepped from the gloom. Dr. Martinez. She looked older, haunted, but her eyes were clear. "Sam?" she asked, voice low. I nodded, too choked to speak. She led me to a basement apartment lined with blackout curtains and battered books. "You're not the first," she said. "They use trauma as a lever. They break you, then rebuild you as something compliant. But there are ways to fight back." She taught me deprogramming techniques, meditation focused on chaos, not order, eating foods that disrupted neural entrainment, walking in natural light to scramble the system's rhythms. She gave me a device, a tiny black cube. "It'll record everything, hide it well. When the time comes, transmit everything to this address." She pressed a card into my hand, the ink smudged but legible. Back at Nexus, I pretended to submit. I let the system map my brain, let the AI flood my senses with its optimization stimuli. But inside, I was chaos, a storm of random thoughts, memories of Alex's laugh, the feel of sunlight on my face. I documented everything, every violation, every moment of resistance. I watched Dr. Vasquez more closely. Sometimes when she thought no one was looking, her mask slipped, a tremor in her hand, a flicker of doubt in her eyes. I realized she wasn't just the architect, she was a survivor too, the first test subject, her humanity buried under layers of programming, but not gone. I dug into the contracts again, searching for loopholes. Buried in the fine print, I found a clause. In the event of demonstrable harm to employee or immediate family, the NDA is void. It was thin, but it was something. I shared what I'd learned with Maya, David, and Jordan, whispering in stolen moments. Some days they understood, fear flickering in their eyes. Other days, the programming was too strong. But I kept trying. The optimization AI, Nexus, had flaws. It couldn't predict true chaos, couldn't process sacrifice or unconditional love. I clung to that, to the memory of Alex's arms around my neck, to the promise I'd made to protect him. The plan took shape: appear to submit, gather evidence, and when the moment came, run. I became two people. On the surface, I was the model subject, punctual, compliant, my biometric readings trending toward optimal. I let the system map my mind, let the AI's stimuli wash over me, flickering lights, binaural tones, whispered affirmations that crawled beneath my skin. I answered the wellness check-ins with the right blend of honesty and submission. I even smiled for the cameras, though the act left my face aching. But beneath the mask, I was chaos. I wore Dr. Martinez's black cube in my sock, its silent red light pulsing against my ankle. Every day, I recorded hours of biometric readouts, whispered conversations, glimpses of the hidden lab. I documented the moments when Maya's smile faltered, when David's humming cracked, when Jordan's spiral sketches bled off the page and onto his skin. The system never caught the device. Nexus, for all its sophistication, couldn't see what it didn't expect: a parent's desperate, irrational love, a mind that refused to be mapped. The day of the family integration session arrived. Dr. Vasquez summoned me with a message. "Congratulations, Sam. You have achieved optimal compliance. Integration with Alex scheduled for 10 a.m. The words felt like a threat. I was led to a new room, white, sterile, lined with humming machines. At the center, Alex sat on a padded chair, the learning enhancement device tight around his head. His eyes found mine, wide and pleading. For a moment, the programming slipped. "Dad," he whispered, "are you real?" I knelt beside him, fighting tears. "I'm here, buddy. I'm real, we're getting out." Dr. Vasquez entered, flanked by two technicians. Her face was unreadable, but her hands trembled. "The final phase is ready, Sam. You and Alex will be fully integrated. Optimized for maximum potential. No more fear, no more pain." I stared at her, searching for the woman buried beneath the programming. "Is this what you wanted, Elena? To become a machine?" She flinched just once. "This is for the greater good. Humanity is inefficient, broken by trauma, by love, by loss. We're building a better world." I shook my head. "You're building a prison, and you're still in it." She hesitated, her eyes flickering with something, regret maybe, or a memory trying to surface. "Begin the procedure," she ordered, but her voice lacked conviction. The technicians moved to strap me in. I triggered the device in my sock. The lights flickered, alarms blared, and the machines sputtered. I grabbed Alex, pulling him close. "Run!" I shouted. Chaos erupted. The system, designed for order, couldn't process the sudden surge of unpredictable variables. Alarms, screaming, the technicians' panic. Dr. Vasquez stood frozen, her face a mask of horror and longing. I shoved through the door, Alex clinging to my hand. We raced down the corridor, the world tilting and warping around us. The walls seemed to pulse, the lights strobing in time with my heartbeat. Every step felt like wading through molasses, but I forced myself forward, Alex's small hand my anchor. Behind us, Dr. Vasquez's voice echoed, fractured and desperate. "Sam, wait, please. I can help you. I can help him." I stopped, turning to see her standing in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. "I was the first," she whispered. "They took everything. I don't remember my daughter's face. Don't let them do this to you." I pressed the black cube into her hand. "Help us escape. Help everyone." She nodded, trembling. "This way." She led us through a maintenance tunnel, her access codes overriding the security doors. As we ran, she spoke in broken sentences, memories surfacing and fading. I tried to stop them. The real controllers, they're everywhere. Tech billionaires, politicians, all optimized, thousands processed. We're just the beginning. We burst into the night, the city's neon glare blinding after so many days in artificial light. Dr. Vasquez handed me a flash drive. "Everything you need, evidence, contacts, get it to Martinez, expose them." Security alarms wailed behind us. Optimized employees spilled into the streets, eyes blank, movement synchronized. Dr. Vasquez turned to face them, buying us precious seconds. Alex and I ran, hearts pounding, the city's shadows swallowing us whole. We ran until our lungs burned, until the city's glass towers faded into a maze of alleys and broken neon. I clutched Alex's hand, terrified to let go, terrified he'd vanish into the swarm of optimized faces flooding the streets. Behind us, sirens wailed, a synthetic chorus rising above the city's hum. Every screen flickered with our faces. Security alert, Chen, S, and dependent. As if the city itself had become an extension of Nexus, eyes everywhere, no shadows deep enough to hide. We ducked into a shuttered laundromat. My hands shook as I checked the flash drive Dr. Vasquez had given me. The files were there. Video of the integration lab, psychological profiles, contracts, the whole rotten lattice of the optimization network. I sent the files to Dr. Martinez's address, praying she was real, praying she was awake. Alex curled against me, shivering. "Dad, am I still me?" His voice was small, uncertain. "Sometimes I hear voices in my head. Sometimes I think I'm dreaming." I hugged him tight, pressing my lips to his hair. "You're real. I promise. We're going to fix this." Footsteps echoed outside. I peered through a crack in the door. Two men in Nexus uniforms, eyes blank, scanning the street with handheld devices. I held my breath as their beams swept past, the air thick with static and the faint scent of ozone. When they moved on, I exhaled, dizzy with relief. My phone buzzed. A single message from Dr. Martinez. "Safe house, 8th and Willow. Come now, hurry." We slipped through the back alleys, dodging patrols, every shadow a potential trap. The city felt warped, unreal. Lights flickering in impossible patterns, faces blurring at the edges, voices echoing from empty windows. I clung to Alex, to the memory of his laugh, to the hope that somewhere beyond this nightmare, we could be whole again. At 8 and Willow, a battered door opened before I could knock. Dr. Martinez stood inside, her eyes fierce and tired. "You made it," she breathed, pulling us into a dimly lit basement crowded with cots and battered laptops. Other families huddled together, parents, children, all haunted, all survivors. The next weeks blurred together, deprogramming therapy, endless sleep, sunlight on my skin for the first time in what felt like years. The therapists used every tool, meditation, art, music, even simple conversation, to draw us back from the edge. Alex struggled most. Sometimes he'd wake screaming, sometimes he'd stare at the wall, lips moving in silent recitation of optimization mantras. But each day, his eyes grew clearer. Each day, he remembered a little more of himself. The evidence I'd sent exploded across the news. Federal agents raided Nexus and its sister companies. Executives were arrested, their faces blank and uncomprehending on the evening broadcasts. Politicians stammered denials. Tech giants scrambled to distance themselves. Lawsuits piled up. New regulations were drafted. The word optimization became a curse. Hundreds of victims were found and freed. Children from the Nexus Youth Initiative, employees from wellness programs, even a few high-profile graduates who'd risen to power. Some would never recover. Some, like Dr. Vasquez, simply vanished, lost in the system they'd helped build. Alex and I started over. Our bond was different now, fragile but real. We talked for hours, about everything and nothing. I told him stories about the world before Nexus, about the first time he laughed, about the day he was born. He drew pictures, wild, chaotic, bursting with color. He was healing, so was I. I joined Dr. Martinez's team, helping others recover, fighting for new laws to protect workers from psychological manipulation. I spoke at hearings, told our story to anyone who'd listen. Sometimes, late at night, I'd catch my reflection in the window and flinch, half expecting to see the hollow-eyed stranger from the mirror. But it was just me, tired, scarred, but alive. The world changed, slowly. Companies were forced to disclose their wellness programs. Workers demanded transparency. Parents watched their children a little more closely, asked harder questions. Technology didn't stop advancing, but its edges grew softer, less hungry. Alex and I found a community, a patchwork family of survivors, all of us learning how to trust again, how to laugh, how to be human. We planted a garden behind the safe house. The first thing that grew was a wild tangle of sunflowers, their faces turned stubbornly toward the light. Sometimes I still dream of the warehouse, the lights, the mirror, the endless questions. But when I wake, Alex is there, real and warm and unoptimized. I don't know if we'll ever be entirely free of Nexus, but we're together. We're ourselves. And for now, that's enough.